Hi, good evening everyone. Ayan. So let me know if you can hear me and see me. Ayan. Just by sending some reactions, of course. Okay, before we formally start our, of course, a very awaited session for tonight. No? My name is Felix, the founder and CEO of Aztecs Page Academy, and I would like to welcome everyone to another Alpha TV episode entitled Leveraging Data, a way to revolutionize your professional and organizational needs. Of course, this session will run from 7 p.m. up until 8:15 this evening. Okay? Check muna tayo, no, para we can know whether we are being heard, being seen. No? Can you simply send us some reactions via the Zoom chat? And of course, those people who are in the Zoom and who are in our YouTube channel, ayan po. No? We have a lot of available seats here at Zoom. So yung mga nasa YouTube po natin, if you want to come over here inside Zoom, pwede po. No po? All right. Okay. So, this topic is my personal favorite, of course, data analytics. And in this particular session, we invited a very competent and capable speaker. Let me introduce to you our resource speaker for tonight. He currently serves as the head of data analytics for one of the largest property developers in the country, Mega World Corporation. Prior to this, he served as the chief analytics officer and chief data scientist of one of the fastest growing fintech in Southeast Asia, Advanced Tech Lending. Prior to that, he served as the pioneer of the analytics team of the largest property consulting firm in the Philippines, Lee Chu Property Consultants. Before that, he served as a department head of a global property consulting firm, Cushman and Wakefield. He also served 8 years as associate content manager of a financial software company called FactSet Philippines. His professional experience not only expands across finance, real estate, and tech. He is likewise a resource and conference speaker with engagements on global scale, and he teaches as well both finance and data analytics at the Ateneo de Manila University, De La Salle University, University of Santo Tomas, University of Asia and the Pacific, Southville Colleges, and Southville International School affiliated with foreign universities. He is a graduate of Masters of Science in Data Science Analytics. He is currently taking Master of Science in Data Science Analytics at UPBGC. He holds an executive diploma in real estate management, holds a Master of Science in Finance from University of the Philippines, had his Bachelor of Arts in Economics from Ateneo de Manila University as cum laude, and also a CFA charter holder who passed all the exams in one attempt. Wow. Without further ado, help me welcome, ladies and gentlemen, with your virtual applauses and warm welcome, our speaker for tonight for leveraging data, none other than Mr. Francis Adrian Viernes, CFA, MSF, CCREP. Good evening, Sir Francis.
Good evening, everyone. Very nice to see that you're all here, and I'm very much excited to share with you what I know about how to use data in your lives. And guys, what you will learn as an opportunity for today is actually very important. Because I wanted to share this on a platform, but I just don't have a lot of opportunity, and I want to thank Mr. Felix for reaching out and helping me spread this passion. So with this, guys, I hope to make you appreciate more how you can change the mindset and revolutionize your professional and personal needs. And later, you will probably have more understanding that I too did not start from the analytics space. So, di ba, if you've heard the introduction, which is a very generous introduction, thank you, Mr. Felix, I started studying economics at the Ateneo, and of course, finance. It's not very much into, well, we do use analytics, but hindi pa siya sobrang analytics. But, I saw that there's a big opportunity for this one, and I studied a lot. And with this one, I hope to also give you the same type of energy and motivation that if you really want to get into the field, you can, and you will always find some good use of data. Like, just look around, nandun na siya. Okay, so I'll be sharing my presentation with you guys, and hopefully, you'll appreciate what I have to share. Now, this type of presentation that I will show you will not focus on the particular codes or techniques, because I'd like to maximize our time and show you the potential of what you can use. Now, for those of you who would probably want to know the steps, I would ask you to connect with me, and I'll teach you how to do it. Okay. So with that, let me share my screen with you guys. Okay. So welcome again formally to leveraging data to revolutionize your professional and organizational needs. So let's begin. It's just going to be a short presentation. And if you have questions, since we have a very, very compact audience here, you may ask me, even in how I began with my analytics career. So for this particular session, what we will be discussing is, number one, what it means to revolutionize, what is data revolution, and of course, revolutionizing your work. So we go on to the specific use cases. Just an example. So there can be a lot, and maybe I'll just put, even though it's not here in my presentation, I'll just give it like an example, maybe. And number four, of course, revolutionizing my favorite one, personal use cases. So for those of you who think that, oh, it's so troublesome studying data analytics, well, you can actually use it for your personal use case. And as the introduction I've given you, my particular expertise is actually in finance and geospatial or real estate. And as you may know, the benefit of using it along those or for those two fields are very, very rewarding. And number five, of course, how you can transition. So I would, of course, give some advice on how you can maybe start to apply analytics, of course, because I know that a lot of the seminars or webinars that you may actually be going into focuses on why it's important to have analytics, and some would focus on Python, for example, or R or Power BI, but it's not those type of webinar. It's more of, okay, you know all that. Where can you apply it for? Okay. All right. So for topic number one, we have here the idea of revolutionize. So as our title mentions it, it's revolutionizing your work and personal life. Revolutionize in a way would mean to change something fundamentally or radically. It means, in Tagalog, binabago natin siya. Diba? Now, for example, when we say that we've undergone industrial revolution, then we reference a time when we were doing things in a certain way before, and now we can no longer play them again in the same manner. So I actually like this quote, like to redefine the game in such a way that a game can never be played the same way before. So what does that mean? Well, there are certain things that when it comes or when it happens, then you wouldn't want to go back, even though the benefit or the temptation of comfort is very strong. Well, if you think about it, for example, there used to be a time when encyclopedia is actually a very, very useful thing, but now you just go on the web. For those people who have probably used it before, even though let's say you don't like change, well, the learning or the knowledge sharing industry has been changed, and you can never go back there, right? So that's one thing. Now, in certain way, data or data analytics or data science also hopes to apply that same type of revolution with our work and professional lifestyle. Okay. Now, where is it factor? So we go on to topic two. How does data actually have, or what is data revolution? Now, we already agreed that when we say revolutionize, we mean transforming, right? But how does it really transform our decision? So you see here, it's data plus intuition equals better decision. Okay. Now I'll give you a particular example from my field, real estate. Okay. Now, I know, okay, for example, everyone, I think everyone in the business community or in the working community would know that if you have a condo near a mall or near the MRT or near the LRT, right? If you have condos near there, or maybe let's say condo near the airport, all those what you call um, centerpieces, right? The important landmarks. Diba? If you have condo there, you know that your property will be more expensive than if the property is not near those landmarks. Diba? That's intuition. You know that, intuitively. Diba? It's so logical, right? You don't need data to tell you that. But what data brings into the table is answering, okay, we know that, we instinctively feel that, but increases the property of my value by how much? That's the portion that data brings into the intuition. Yes, I know that it does, but by how much percentage? Can I increase it in such a way that I can expand it, double it, for example. If I double it, will I still have a market, for example? So the data there is supplying the specific detail to the intuition that we already have. That's the revolution part, okay? And of course, if you combine data plus intuition, then we have better decisions. So for now, I'll start to go with the professional use case. This is actually why we're here. So for the professional use case number one, you can actually use cash flow budgeting. So look at this one. This is an article that I've written. So as I will explain later, I'm also a global writer for data science. And if you follow me on Medium, I will actually give you ways or code on how to actually do it. So for example, for this one, cash flow plays a key role in the success of the company's operations. So while cash flow obligations may be fixed, there are multiple ways to meet this, as let's say borrowing from a line of credit or raising short-term commercial paper. So for most of you, for example, maybe you are an accountant, or maybe you're working, again, this is an area of finance. Maybe you're working for the office of the CFO. Of course, you will know that you need to budget certain things, let's say for the year. Or let's say, for example, in this particular one, I actually gave you here, so for example, this one, actually gave you a scenario where suppose you are building a house or building an office or building, let's say, a condominium. For example, you're a real estate development firm. And when you're building, let's say, an office, if you plan it, for example, you would have, let's say, okay, 10 million for year one, 20 million for year two, 30 million for year three. Okay. Now, in that case, you have one option. One option for you is to actually pay it outright. But so just set aside the money. But there's also a way for you to not set it aside and then just pay it as it comes due, so that when you have to meet or pay those obligations, you actually have earned interest. So in this particular problem, for example, if you will do the step by code, of course, which is not the point of this presentation, then you will be able to save a staggering 3 billion pesos. Okay, 3 billion. You'll be saving your company money because you've done an analytic approach or a data science approach, in this case, optimization, telling you how to spend your money. Okay, that's one. Cash flow budgeting. Okay. Another use case that we want is, of course, fraud detection. So, okay, did you know that, how do you think that a lot of our social media or web app or phone app determines which of the applicant is actually a fraud. Okay, I'll give you the answer. They find that out when on the sign up page, it takes you more than 3 seconds to enter your last name. Now, why is that the case? Well, they have found out that you, being a person who have always supplied your last name 1 second after the first name because you've been doing it all your life, that if a person has supplied it 3 seconds after the first name, it means that that is not a natural last name or that the person is not used to supplying that last name, that it's probably a made up last name. And that's something that where you can use right now fraud detection. But what is our data set there? Our data set, or rather, not data set, what is our feature or data point there? Our data point there is the number of seconds it took for the applicant to supply the last name. Now think of that very important fact. Later, we will make a case that in order for you to think like, or in the new analytics way, or rather in how to think like an analytics professional, or how you can revolutionize this, is to look at other types of data point that you have not been looking at before. Without that data point, the 3 second rule, for example, so even in fraud, we have a different type of rule, the 3 second rule, then you wouldn't spot which one is fake or not, right? Or which are fake, because you probably will be using the traditional data points. What are the traditional data points? Just the name, the address. But when you start to think of what else, what other data point can I use? And in this case, the time it took to supply the last name after the first name has been given. Okay, next. For banking as well, then we can have what we call the alternative credit scoring. So this is a particularly nice use case. In let's say finance, we have what we call financial inclusion. With financial inclusion, okay, you aim to include those people that have been traditionally excluded by the banking sector, the financial service sector, access, or you plan to give them access to, let's say, financial services. Now, why is that important? Well, look at it this way. Without the alternative credit scoring, and later I'll define what that is. Hindi ba, when you try to apply for a loan, let's say for a bank, one of the decision factor that maybe they may be looking at is how well you have paid your other loans before, right? But if you have not loaned before, then you don't have any record. And for the banks, it might look like that you're very risky, because they don't have any record of your past behavior. For banks, past behavior is very, very important. So then, those people that have not loaned, it's a circular problem, you see. Those people that have not loaned before, then they would be refused their loans because they haven't been loaned before. It's a circular problem. They haven't been loaned before, so the bank have no data, and therefore we will exclude or we will not approve you. But now comes the alternative credit scoring. The process that I've mentioned earlier, that's what you call credit scoring. So for example, this person, Francis, he has loaned 7 times before. And of those 7 times, he paid 6 times on time, for example, only 1 time delinquent, etc. So the probability that he will pay again for this one is good. That's the traditional credit scoring. But the alternative credit scoring, and I think this is something that you actually know. For example, if you look at GCash, right? GCash, you can loan from GCash, or even in advance, where we are for salary loan. You can loan there because they have other data points that they can use to identify your credit worthiness. So for example, for the mobile app, for the social, they might even have the data on how frequently you open your phone, how many calls do you receive in a day, how many texts do you receive in a day, and if you do answer the phone, how long are you on the phone? The average time of a call, for example. So see, what is this again? These are alternative data points. Traditionally, the banks don't do this. For example, guys, if you go to a bank and then you apply for, let's say, a car loan or a bank loan or any type of loan, would you supply in the application form, okay, I take 5 calls a day? You don't, right? So these are data points that have not been explored traditionally, but with the use of tech, they are now possible. Of course, when you integrate or you use their app kind of sends them signal. Of course, don't worry about it. It's all protected anyway. It's all encrypted, but it sends them signals on your particular behavior. So, for example, if you pay your utility or if mobile and whether or not you have banking apps installed on your phone, that makes it possible for businesses to what? To grow, right? So this is another way of a professional use case where, business or your particular line of work can potentially leverage this new type of data. Okay, and with that, we will now go to the personal use case, and I will be showing you some of my article. But yeah, so now we go to that personal use case. Now, did you know that you can one of the problem for portfolio optimization, guys, this is one of my favorite. Okay, I know you have a lot there who are investment enthusiasts. Okay, so have you ever had a friend who told you, okay, so invest in Converge, for example, or invest in BPI, but then how much? Using data analytics and data science, I can tell you which stocks to buy and how much you should place well between those stocks. So let me show you an example of the code. Okay, so let me just open it. Okay, so let me show you. So this is my particular article about it. Now, if you look at this one, I'll tell you, given, for example, the use of particular packages. So again, this is not a webinar for you to learn how to code. But if you do want to learn how to code and, for example, how to apply this in your personal use case, of course, you can message me after, connect with me on LinkedIn. But I'll just show you, for example, how we've done it. So, for example, for this one, suppose you want to decide if you want, these are your stocks: Mega World, Cebu Pacific, Banco de Oro, all of that. You're considering all of that, right? Now, you want to know which stock should give you the optimal profit, right? So what would happen is that we will look at their past data, historical data, including their rate of return and risk. Okay, and using actually Python, guys, you can actually get their data, the historical data. Okay, pause for a minute and let that sink in. Without analytics, without open source technology, okay, without them, how would you get the prices of Mega World from, let's say, 2014? Look at this one, 2014, January to 2014 to December 27, 2019. How would you get that price? Hindi ba? What you would do is you would go to the, for example, PSE, copy price, copy price, copy price, copy price, and you would do that for, let's say, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 stocks. That would take you a lot. But with one piece of code, you can get the entire price of all of that. Okay, and now you'll be able to get what? Their historical return and historical risk. Okay, and with that, that's how we use it, for example. So we do some calculations here. Of course, if you follow the code, you will be able to find out that, okay, so based on our calculation and assuming the simulation of 10,000 portfolio, ibig sabihin, we've created 10,000 portfolio virtually or hypothetically. The best combination would be you invest only 1.61% for Mega World, 10.64 in Cebu Pack, 10% in BDO. So for example, if you have 100 pesos to spend, only 10 pesos for BDO, 1 pesos for Meg, and almost zero for P Gold, for example. But that's only because you've considered only 15 stocks. And of course, it depends on the time frame that you're considering. But again, it simplifies the task for you for your personal goals, right? So it will all those type of again, let's go back to the first part of the presentation. Intuition. You have intuition. I know that Cebu Pack will be very strong. I know that BDO is strong. But then, how does data factor in, or how does data revolutionize that? It adds in the percentage. It's adding the concreteness. Okay, we can be sure that it's more profitable or more risk optimal for us, for those of you who are also finance experts or finance graduate, we can consider it the mean variance optimal portfolio if we allocate it in such a way. Okay, and of course here it also will predict how much you will earn. So based on our code here, of course if you run this, I've given you the code, you will get okay, this is the Sharpe ratio. You will get okay, so okay, I think okay, it's not included here, but it tells us that the 9,727 portfolio that we have created is the best among the 10,000. Of course, you can increase to 100,000 or even 1 million. Okay, but yeah, it will give you that. Okay, if you're considering all this, and you can even add more stock here. And did you know that even for some crypto, they also have open source data, so you can manipulate and you can study the movement. Okay, so that's one. Okay, so stop this. Okay, now let's go back to our presentation. Okay, so that's the first personal use case. Another use case is, for example, for down payment options. Probably you're considering of buying, let's say, this is hypothetical, but let's say you're considering buying a new condo or lot. And then for most developers, they will give you what three option. Option number one, 20% spot DP with 10% discount on the 20% DP. Option number two would be 20% down payment payable in 36 monthly installment. And option number three would be 10% DP with 8% discount on the 10% spot DP plus 10% payable in the 36 monthly installments. So let's say, for example, they give you an option. Did you know that using as well analytics, again, you might be indifferent. They're all good options, and you might be tempted to go with the lighter payment. But did you know that if, for example, you can definitely, if you can pay with all the options, you can definitely tell which one of the options will give you more savings. That's another personal use case but as you know, probably it's real estate and finance. Those are my expertise. This is a real estate and finance use case. So this is also something that's very, very, very important, or rather, which I like to share with all of you. Another one is, of course, personal use case selling or real estate. So let's say, for example, you want to sell your condo or you want to sell your lot. And in order for you to sell it, you want to determine the optimal price, right? So what we could do is we can get all the listings of all the sites, let's see, Property24, Lamudi, My Property, and RentPad. Don't worry, we can do that programmatically. Okay, we don't need to do that para kukunin mo siya isa-isa. There is a code that you can do and combine them. Now, we instantly see that there's an upside to this method. We have multiple listings, diba? So for example, let's say that's your city or that's your barangay, and somewhere there is your lot and you want to sell it. Okay. Now, if you want to sell it, what is the optimal price? Now, you may contrast this type of method. So ginamit natin sila Lamudi, My Property, lahat ng mga listing sites. Now, you may contrast this method with what we use with, let's say, appraisal. With appraisal, di ba, for example, lumapit ka sa mga property consultants, what they would do is they would pick just 3 properties, yung pinakamalapit. So subjective siya, but that's okay. I mean, we pay them. It's not less. It's a different way of thinking. So it's equally valid, or maybe even more valid kasi professional sila. But they would use what, three optimal lang na 3 na, let's say, properties na similar sa'yo. With that, of course, here you have, let's say, in one round of this one, we were able to get 8,000 properties. Yun yung kino-compare namin. And imagine how that would remove the bias if ang dami mong pinili na, or rather, ang daming data points that would support that this is the correct price. Di ba? Kaysa dun sa, for example, pag konti lang. Again, that is not to claim that this is superior in every aspect. There are some aspects that are better handled by the professional, of course, who has probably seen more properties. And for example, baka naman yung property mo is merong, let's say, castle, for example. So yun. Now, after this, we get all the listings of each property. So, gaano kalaki? 40 square meters, 72 square meters, di ba? Meron yung mga size. We also get the price per SQM. Okay, so 350,000, 200,000, 100,000 per SQM, 20,000 per SQM. Okay? We also get the number of rooms, 2 rooms, 3 rooms, di ba? Yun yung mga nakaka-affect ng price eh. These properties are the ones, or rather, yeah, these characteristics are the one that will tell you whether or not your property is prime, or if it's second grade, for example. So with that as well, we also look at the points of interest. So within the vicinity of your condo, do you have a lot of malls? Do you have a lot of alcohol shop? You have airport, you have McDonald's, you have Starbucks, but those are the proven points of interest that increase the value of the property. And after that, we do what we call clustering. So in clustering, you will be able to see that all those clusters here, yung mga same color, they are of the same cluster. Ibig sabihin, if your property lies dito sa pink dots, then therefore, you would use the average price ng pink, or dito ka lang sa range na to. Hindi mo pwedeng kunin yung price ng blue because statistically, you're different from them. Diba? Yan yung clustering. So now, you would be able to determine, without bias, how does the computer or the algorithm sees my property? Kanino ba niya ako sinasama? Sino ba yung mga kasama kong property? Okay, so that's one. Okay, another is, so which we will do is what we call remote sensing for property inspection. So yung kanina, let's say for example, ginamit mo siya para magbenta. Okay, para magbenta ka, yun yung okay. Now, dito in this case, let's say bibili ka pa lang. For example, and COVID, for example, COVID, and you cannot go to places. Did you know that you can tap into the satellite and look at kung ano yung itsura nung, of course, ginagawa niya yung Google Maps, but pero hindi lang din yun. You can almost also see whether or not yung lugar na yun bahain or maraming vegetation, and what type of vegetation. Remote sensing siya kasi you're able to sense it from afar. And that's only possible because you're using satellite. Now, why satellite? Let me explain this. I promise it's not sobrang technical, but just for you to grasp this new alternative form of data. When you have a satellite, okay, it sends off different type of light. Diba? Yan. So, meron siyang parang kinukuhang light. This type of light, or this type of radiation, it radiates a different type of energy. This type of radiation, kapag tinamaan niya yung isang tao, tinamaan niya yung, let's say, water, or tinamaan niya yung plant, bawat surface ng tao bawat surface ng kahit anong bagay have a different reflection of the light. In fact, diba, basic science, you've learned that kaya yan green, yung mga plants, that's the way, that's the part that's the color that they reflect out pag natamaan sila ng ilaw. Correct? Ganun din ito. Now, this type of information, kinukuha siya ng satellite and you will be able to determine. So in one use case, we're able to determine na ay bahain pala yung lugar na yan. Of course, sometimes when a person will sell you something, hindi nila sasabihin yun. But with satellite, we're able to determine na no, sabi nga dito, severe yung flooding. Okay, or severe yung parang well fault for earthquake, something like that. So that's remote sensing, and you can do that even if hindi ka pumupunta sa place, di ba? So again, new forms of technology. Again, ilalapit ko lang kanina we also tapped yung 3 seconds ng last name, and then ano pa, doon naman, yun din kanina, yung sa stocks. Ito naman, satellite images. But these are alternative or, well, new forms, let's not call it alternative, new forms of data that are possible because of technology that if you use them in conjunction with your personal or professional use, it quickly leverages or enhances or uplifts your use case. Okay? And for example, for something fun, maybe you'd like to plan your trips. So again, connecting to Google Maps, kaya yan. And again, there are codes here. If you want to know paano siya gawin, you can connect with me. I'll be happy to teach you. But again, for personal use case, if you have, let's say, pupunta ka ng Japan or Thailand, or even, let's say, for example, kahit local lang, Boracay or Bohol or whatever yung maraming stops, you can use the algorithms to plan the shortest route so that you can optimize marami kang mabisita. That's again another form of analytics. And of course, you've been doing that before. You probably are doing that sa map, etc., etc. But with this one, especially kung hindi ka pa nakapunta doon and wala pa nagpa-publish ng let's say, ng blog or vlog about it, then it's impossible for you to determine anong route. But using, again, the open source technology for us, you will be able to have, let's say, a route, and then siya na yung magka-calculate. Okay? And of course, this ends, marami pang use case, but I don't want to overwhelm you. It's just all of these are possible, but here I'd like to summarize now what we have learned. Well, number one, be curious, ask what's possible. So for example, dun sa stock natin, and even dun sa listing ng real estate. Well, if you wouldn't ask if there are data available, then you would just be content with, let's say, just your intuition. And I do not belittle intuition. Sometimes it's more powerful than data. And sometimes nga, guys, data is, pag dirty yung data, it can even lead you to wrong directions. Diba? So I'm not belittling it, but it's just be curious. Is it possible for me to get this type of data? Is it possible to get, let's say, foot traffic, etc., or a heat map, for example, or something like that? So be curious, ask what's possible. Number two, explore alternative data sources. So if you have an example kanina, alternative data source, 3 seconds after the first name, another data source na alternative, well, satellite images, open source data. And even for example, yung mga Lamudi listings that we weren't considering before, but now we are considering them now, right? Or Google Maps, yun. So, and of course, I also ask you to upskill and continue learning. So this is the part where I told you that I started my but you know, in my prior work naman, there are analytics, but not as deep as this one. The one that I've been telling you, I just started to really learn about this one 3 to 4 years ago. And no, actually, I think it's just 3 years ago, 2019. I just started it learning and reading, and that's where I started my blog, Medium blog. So if you really want to leverage, and again, it's the point of our webinar, leverage data and analytics and tech to enhance your, let's say, personal and professional lives, then there must be some upskilling that has to take place. And you must first appreciate that it can really do that, because when you see that it's possible and hey, I really want to do something about it, like for example in real estate, I really want to use this in real estate and maybe help other people, then that's where you, well, not just continue it, you also network with other people and try to grow and share what you know, and they would also share what they know, and that's how you go into the field. Okay, and as we leave, I'll let you in with one of a particular quote from a very popular guy. I believe you all know this, Elon Musk. Okay, so taking advantage of the shifts where you can shift, you can literally learn any skill you want for free on YouTube, and you can become a person of value in a matter of months. Just a few years ago, this wasn't possible. It's actually that's why I really like this quote. It was almost the same, or rather, resounds what I had in my what I told you in my message. If you were lucky enough to be born in this era, take full advantage of it. So, for example, for this webinar or connections, then I would ask you guys to connect with me. So, here's my email, and here's my phone number, and here's my LinkedIn, where I usually post my articles and my blogs about data science. And with that, I open the floor for some questions.
Wow. Sobrang, sobrang nakaka-amaze yung talk na yon, Sir Francis. Well, that was like the one of the best 45 minutes of my life. Very concise, very on point. Titindigan yung balahibo ko kasi parang sobrang dali lang para sa inyo to, share these things when in fact yung impact niya, the value that it can give to an individual and to an organization, really really great, no, great value. So ayan, na-overwhelm ako dun sa in a good way, na parang sabi ko, wow, ang daming pwede, di ba? Even in a personal approach or in a personal level, di ba? Naisip ko nga, sabi ko, oo nga, no, kasi I've been a fan. I'm one of the siguro individual who wanted to try investing or even trading. Well, I have investments, of course. Pero hindi ko siya nagagamit on that way because I'm myself a data geek, no. But lalo kong na-appreciate, no, from a standpoint na-appreciate ko naman siya. I'm actually applying data analytics for process improvements as part of my corporate job, tapos hingin nga niya as a consultant. Pero sabi ko, wow, this is a new level, no? Professional and personal use cases, super nakaka-satisfy marinig, no? At how you deliver din po yung talk, very hindi siya yung tipong intimidating in such a way na you're actually veering away from all the codes and such. So people would appreciate, of course, kung ano talaga yung value. So thank you, Sir Francis. Parang super blessing kayo for everyone who is actually here tonight. We have about 50 people. Some of them are actually in the YouTube, and most of them are here at Zoom. So I hope that you connect with Sir Francis, no? Sa LinkedIn ko lang din po nakita si Sir Francis. So most of the people who I invite papunta dito sa ating Alpha TV for everyone's information, most of them are connections coming from LinkedIn. So if you don't have a LinkedIn account yet, you start creating one, and please connect with Sir Francis. Ayan po, andyan din yung email niya. Of course, ako marami akong tanong even after nito, no? Of course, maybe we will be having a masterclass around data analytics and data science, which is basically we do have naman po, no, just to make Sir Francis know, we have a data analytics program po happening actually on February 12. Pero we are very open to have you in our mentors po, of course. So, guys, let's capitalize on the opportunity, no, na magtanong po kay Sir Francis about maybe the journey, of course, of from yung kanyang yung sa economics niya, yung sa real estate, and then going to data analytics, no. And so if you have questions, please let us know. Siguro, in the benefit of the time being na wala pa nagtatanong, ako lang po muna siguro yung unang magtatanong. Siyempre, most of the people here, siyempre, na-appreciate nila na, okay, ang ganda ng analytics, ganyan. Pero we all know that analytics is not that easy. I mean, you have to really invest time to learn and to apply what you learn. Di ba? So, ano po kaya yung pwede nyo mabigay na tips, especially for those graduating students na we have engineering, we have business students, or maybe finance students here in the session. What are the initial steps that they can do? Paano sila pwedeng mag-start if they want to venture na pag nakagraduate sila, they would be eyeing for data analytics or data science positions?
Very relevant. So maybe we can split the question then according to the particular demographics. For students naman, Well, siguro, well, in some of my, as you know, diba, economics and finance ako, I really like studying, and that's probably one of the things why I ventured into the analytics. But I think for a lot of us here, and to guys, this is something that I want you to acknowledge. The fact that you are here on a Friday night, you are curious, right? You are curious, and I think ganun din ako. So at the end of the day, like for example, katulad ng yung say use case ko kanina, I know that kapag mas malapit ang condo sa mall, mas mataas ang price. But by how much? It's that simple question na parang, okay, I really want to learn this. And pag nakita mo how it can eventually change na, okay, here it is. And then, okay, gets ko na. In fact, guys, it happened when I have a lot of these losses sa investments. So I'm a finance major, and then di ba, yun nga, CFA, MSF, MS in Finance. Usually, when I invest kasi pagka, sobrang bagal ko talaga guys. Parang sobra ako nag-verify. Ganun talaga. So, for example, kapag ang isang stock, tumaas na siya ng tumaas, okay, medyo safe na. Tsaka ako mag-invest, and tsaka siya bababa. Yung pala nasa peak na siya. So, that kind of frustration na if only I knew the data beforehand, then mas kaya ko siya. So if you have a lot of those experience, tap into those, and then maybe, okay, definitely I want to learn analytics. Now, here naman, I have another question na what motivated me? So, may nag-send sa akin ng direct question. What motivated me to dwell in the data analytics field? And again, guys, ito naman, so that's for the students. Sorry, dagdag pa natin for students. If you really want to also apply data analytics, please find a job na in the field. Kasi, you know what guys, ito analytics is so domain agnostic. You can apply analytics in healthcare, in finance, in real estate, in construction, diba? You even have analytics sa customer sentiments, customer care. Get one now, enter into that kasi it's gonna be like the norm. So that's for students. Now, for those of you na professional na like me, and as you probably know, okay, nag-CFA na ako, nag-MS Finance, why enter into analytics? Shouldn't that be enough? Well, at that time, well, there's also, let's just have honest talk. Parang at that time, the field is also getting crowded in sa finance. Diba? So there are also a lot of finance graduates. So parang I wanted to be in a field where I can really contribute and be fresh in my contributions about it. So kaya nga guys, yun nga sa mga LinkedIn and aking mga Medium posts, a lot of those are really original. So I've developed them and then I wanted to share. This is really a nice avenue for me to share. So that's what motivated me to dwell in the analytics field. The desire to see the field grow and contribute to it, di ba? So I'm sure in the future, hindi lang to, baka marami pang gagalaw na bagong fields sa analytics. And if you're there, diba, wouldn't the ability to share something fresh or unique or be there when it rises, that's for me worth studying about it, writing about it on weekend, meeting new people. Oh guys, ito pa. I also started like you, lahat ng free webinar na meron, I attended. And then I learned, okay, so ito pala. Tapos pag may sinabi silang bagong term, geospatial analytics, try ko, geospatial analytics. And then pag gano'n sa bahay, babasa ko, parang ganun. So all of those type of curiosity, if you do it, and you can probably just do it, sabi nga ni Elon Musk, months. Oh, kasi nga, di ba, years, 2 years. Sabi ni Elon Musk, if you do it passionately, baka kaya mo ng months.
Wow. So that was a very on point and holistic answer, no? Coming from Sir Francis. So sabi nga is yung pag-continue to be curious, no? Yung pagiging hungry for knowledge, for new pieces of knowledge or information. Ayan. I think just to point out, parang medyo may pareho kami ng ugali ni Sir Francis on that point na whenever I attend webinars and conferences, pag may for example for in the field of continuous improvement din Six Sigma, pag sinabing gantong tool, parang nangangati agad yung kamay ko na hahanapin ko habang nagko-conference. Minsan hinahanap ko na kung ano bang ibig sabihin no, para and then after ng conference, kasunod na noon aaralin ko, maghanap ako ng mga free resources, materials. So I guess it's really helpful to build that kind of kumbaga attitude towards learning. So thank you, Sir Francis, for sharing that. You mentioned about ngayon po, 'di ba, parang you're taking up yung sa UP na professional masters. Tama po ba? Yun nga po ba yun? So I've seen that. I'm actually dreaming to be part of that program, pero I think sa ngayon hindi ko pa kaya. Though some school of thought will tell you na the best time to start is now. You just have to take the first step, di po ba? Pero for the sake of everyone here, meron po ba kayong mga related readings? Of course, on top of what you are sharing na very valuable pieces of information and insights sa Medium po at saka sa LinkedIn, meron po ba kayong specific na like parang resources or courses na tinake that help you kick off your um, lifelong learning on the field of data analytics and data science?
Okay. Well, actually, mas YouTube. Yan. Kasi di ba there are different type of learners and ako yung parang I like hearing and then seeing it na parang kaya pala. In one way kasi guys, I don't know if you feel the same way, hindi ba? Do you remember our profs? Our profs, kahit na sobrang hirap ng topic, but you see them explaining it in a very nonchalant way, very, very nice voice. Di ba parang, madali lang pala. That helped me. I don't know kung ganun. Kasi pag magbabasa kayo ng article, for example, magbabasa kayo, okay, the Bayesian analytics for the zero inflated Poisson model. Siyempre, kaka-intimidate, di ba? Pero sometimes, a really good prof parang would know how to, okay, so parang ganun lang yan, di ba? Parang i-explain niya yun. So, sometimes hearing about it, so ako, kung tatanungin mo ako, to jumpstart it, puro YouTube. Diba? Puro YouTube and then maybe that's why I started with the use case. If you know kung saan mo siya gagamitin, baka mas madaling mag-aral. Kaysa di ba yung nag-aaral ka na ng Python, di mo naman, saan ko nga ba gagamitin yung Python? Di ba? Parang ganun. So, yan. But, at least on the topic of books naman, there is this book for the data visualization, and I believe that parang ano siya, the do's and don'ts of visualization. So you can find that out. I think that's forgot the name. Sorry, but it's a very good way to start. Kasi a lot of us has been reading a lot of charts. So parang how to improve lang din yung presentation of charts. For example lang guys, okay, ito. When you present a pie chart, dapat a maximum lang 7 slice. Pag 8 slice na yan, or 9 slice, or 10 slice, hindi nakita yan. Diba? Parang ganun. So yung mga ganung klase ng tips. So doon ako nag-start na parang, data analytics can be fun pala. No? So yun muna, at least light muna siya. So don't bother yourself muna kagad na, ano ba itong mga code na to? Parang ganun. But at least there, pag nakapasok ka sa data visualization, nakapasok ka na sa field. By mga Power BI, yun eh.
Right. Great answers, of course. So, syempre, yung sinasabi nyo kanina na there could be mentors or there could be people who would want to teach a subject or yun nga, mga professors natin. We have actually professors here, friends from Mapua. Ayan, so hello po sa mga... So, yun, di ba parang sometimes intimidating nga, pero yun nga po, parang the way you present it is it's actually the way you want or how you want to learn it, yung ano. So very good po na very good na example and kumbaga personification nung gusto niyo na way of learning, since sabi nga natin we have different approaches and styles to adult learning. So we have to find your spot para mas madali yung learning process or yung transfer of learning. I think yung book po, I don't know if it's the same book, Storytelling with Data. Hindi ko po sure kung yun, binabasa ko din siya, pero hanggang hindi ko natatapos, pero magaganda yung insights. And to your point, na meron nga po tayong levels or parang types of data analytics field or specialization, like data visualization, data engineering, data management, tapos yung mga models and such. So napakadami, hindi naman, correct me po if I'm wrong, lagi ko rin po narinig sa mga conferences, sinasabi nila na you don't have to be master of every kumbaga domains naman. You can actually specialize on, for example, more of data engineering ka or more of data management or data visualization, to your point, na pinakamadali actually na or kumbaga parang pinakamadaling pasukin, if I may use the term. Ayun po. So yun. Which is actually very powerful, since if for example, if you have a data, tapos hindi mo naman siya kayang interpret into something or to a chart or to a diagram or to a visualization na maiintindihan at makakakuha ng insights yung stakeholders or audience mo, I think hindi mo rin pwedeng sabihin na successful ka sa data analyst or data scientist kasi yun yung fundamentals. If I got it right from all the things din po na uh, narinig ko na at na napanood ko sa mga conferences. Yan. So, do we have other questions? Parang ako lang yung nagtatanong. Kayo talaga mahihiyain tong mga to. Opo. So, Sir Francis, apo. So, yung Medium account nyo, how can we connect with your parang profile at Medium?
I think even just for the articles that I've shared, when you search me dun sa Medium, Francis Adrian Viernes, you'll
all right.
But to your point, Felix, you're right, no? Guys, if you want to start with data visualization, I suggest you should. Number one, kasi humans are, well, natural storytellers. Nung lumalaki tayo, we really like stories. And if you have the ability to tell stories using data, I hope ginawa ko siya kanina, then you can really connect, diba? That's all what we're looking for. You know, guys, siguro just to share, because it's very important to. In my field, I've seen a lot of super intelligent people. Super intelligent sila na their intelligence can really change the world. But they fail to do so kasi hindi sila makakonect ng message nila. Okay? So it's if you can, for example, just convey a simple message with a simple graph, of course, then you are maybe the change that, well, the data science community is expecting or needs. So you don't need to be super computer science, no, not necessarily. And guys, my story should tell you that I didn't come from a computer science background. I come from business background, economics and finance. Walang computer dun, but of course, well, you really want to, so may practice, and I think yun yung need kasi sa job ko. So maybe for those of you who looking to transition, find a job na mag-fit doon. And I believe naman that you may be able to find right now, napasimula pa lang siya, na hindi mag-require ng sobrang very strict experience.
All right. And thank you po, Sir Francis. And for the benefit of time being, I guess medyo nahihiya sila magtanong, but please do connect with Sir Francis. I think si Sir Francis is a kind of person that will be really helpful, no? Kung gusto niyo kung may gusto pa kayong mas malaman about data science or data analytics, and if you want to try, kung halimbawa nasa data science and data analytics na kayo and you want to try things that were applied by Sir Francis, both professional and personal use cases, so please connect. Don't forget to connect with Sir Francis. Sir Francis, maraming salamat po for gracing our session for tonight. I'll be communicating with you offline na lang po after this session, and hopefully we can have you as one of our mentors for data science and data analytics sa mga programs po namin dito sa Aztecs Page Academy. And with that, thank you po, and I'll just have some few announcements before I conclude the session. But maraming salamat po, and I will talk to you soon afterwards po.
Thank you as well. I enjoyed it.
Ayan. So maraming salamat po ulit, Sir Francis. And it was really an entertaining session. Fun, and hindi ko naramdaman talaga yung honestly speaking, yung intimidating na feeling about data science dun sa talk ni Sir Francis. So that was Leveraging Data, a way to revolutionize your professional and organizational needs by none other than Sir Francis Adrian Viernes, CFA, MSF, and CCREP. So ayan po, no? For those who are at our YouTube channel and here at Zoom, some few announcement lang po before po tayo mag-conclude ng ating event for tonight, and para po makita niyo na kung ano yung ating link for the evaluation that will be basis for your e-certificates. Ayan. So again, maraming salamat po again, Sir Francis. And for some few announcements, ayan, so there will be an attendance form that will be shown later on sa last slide po ng ating announcement. This will be open up until 8:30. Ayan. Please Don't forget to like our Facebook page, Aslex Page Academy. We are also at LinkedIn, and we have our YouTube channel, Aslex Page Academy. You can also check our free courses. Ayan, we have aslexpage.com/courses that you can check on. For our programs, very quickly lang po, we have an upcoming Lean Six Sigma Yellow Belt program happening this January 19 to 27. Registration is still open. We have our self-paced Yellow Belt e-learning. You can check our page for the pinned post in our Facebook page for a Valentine sale. Yan. So check nyo po yun. Buy one, take one po siya. So we have an upcoming Green Belt program. The nearest is actually tomorrow. Pero yung sunod is March 5 to April 3, 2022. We also have a self-paced program na katumbas nito, equivalent ito. Yan. Our Black Belt will commence again. Ongoing po kasi yung yung current batch. So next batch will be May 7 to June 26, 2022. Data, ayan, data science with Python leading to what we call Alpha Certified Data Analyst, which is actually a trademark po na program natin, no? Registered trademark. So this will happen starting February 12 and March 19. Ayan po, hopefully pag ma-arrange natin, baka makasama natin Sir Francis kung kaya pa ng kanyang time. So, but this one is being led and taught by, of course, our COO, Engineer Joshua Paliso. So, Project Management Fundamental Certification happening this February 26. Ayan po. Kaizen will happen, the next batch will be on March 26 and 27. Certified Internal Quality Auditor on March 5 to 26. And if you are a group of 5, you can join our programs by paying only for 4 packs. So you just have to click on your interest or whatever interests you in the listing that we have, products and our services, self-paced courses, self-paced e-learning courses, as well as live online classes. So pwede nyo pong i-apply yan. Of course, sorry. I stand corrected, for live online classes only, rather. We are still looking for partner organizations and individuals. Most of them are partner organizations. So if you have brands or organizations or startups that you would want to partner with us, we are very open for that. And we are looking also for individual ambassadors. So if you're a student, you want to help Aslex Page Academy to grow, or you're a professional, so you're welcome to apply as an ambassador. And our friends from iExcel is still accepting enrollees, I think, up until tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken. You can also support farmers, Filipino farmers, through this startup called FarmBox. So you can get 100 pesos off on your next purchase. So just visit their Facebook page. So with that, of course, our friends from Grace Apparel. So if you can check their stores at Shopee and Lazada. So they have a lot of great designs. And with that, this is actually now the link to our evaluation that will lead you to getting your e-certificate from Sir Francis. Very great learning session for tonight. So please take a screenshot of this slide or copy in the link so that you can fill it up and complete that so that you can get your certificate or e-certificate. Okay, so with that, thank you everyone. We hope to see you again next Friday, February 11 for another talk about analytics, which will cover about prioritization tools as applied in the field of analytics. So again, thank you everyone. Have a good night. Have a restful weekend, and let's continue to be #significantly better together. Maraming salamat po. Bye. Bye everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.